As you can see, it actually snowed a little bit. It's not freezing cold, but I guess cold enough for it to stick. And what's going on today? I thought this was kind of interesting, where a lot of people fear where when someone's flying a drone recreationally and all that, they assume you're being spied upon, even though it's ridiculous when you think about it. But how about this one? Where apparently in the US, they're proposing a bill that would ban sex offenders from using a drone, which is kind of interesting to think about. This one says, bill prohibiting sex offenders from owning drones passes Arkansas Senate committee. And it shows the bill here stating it's from the state of Arkansas. An act to prohibit a registered sex offender from purchasing, owning, possessing, using, or operating an unmanned aircraft for private use and for other purposes. So it shows you here what they normally, I guess, can't do as a sex offender. For example, recording people under a certain age, like it says here, 14. And then it has here, number 2, purchasing, owning, possessing, using, or operating an unmanned aircraft under 514-138 if he or she is assessed as a level 3 or level 4 offender. And in trying to describe, I guess, an unmanned aircraft for a drone, it says, as used in this section, unmanned aircraft means an aircraft, including an aircraft commonly known as a drone, that is operated without the possibility of direct human intervention from within or on the aircraft and has the ability to photographically or electronically record. It is unlawful for a person who is required to register under the Sex Offender Registration Act of 1997, 12-12-901 ET sequence, and who has been assessed as a level 3 or level 4 offender to knowingly purchase, own, possess, use, or operate an unmanned aircraft. So with the wording here, wouldn't that imply this guy can't even fly a toy, for example? Like, let's just say, I don't know, a 5-gram drone or something like that, which makes you wonder, is that actually feasible to implement some kind of, I guess, bill or restriction in this way? I know there's a lot of people who would be immediately, I guess, biased in that sense, saying, who cares, it's a sex offender, they shouldn't be able to use this stuff, period, because you could, quote, spy on someone. But kind of like that previous clause it said about where they can't record people under a certain age. Imagine if they just said anything with a camera in general. I don't know, like that means no phones, for example. You can't even use, I don't know, webcams to like video conference with people. So that's kind of the tricky thing, where you have to try to look at this from an unbiased point of view. But they do give an exemption of sort. It says this section does not apply to a person who is required to purchase, own, possess, use, or operate an unmanned aircraft as part of his or her employment, and purchases, owns, possesses, uses, or operates an unmanned aircraft as part of his or her employment. A violation of this section is a Class D felony. To me, again, just trying to think of it in an impartial way, it seems kind of sketchy per se in terms of wording it that way. And even in the article, they talked about how a lot of people supported it. It says here, last week the bill passed the House Committee on Judiciary and was approved in a 95-1 vote in the House. While Tucker said he agreed the behaviors Evans described should be illegal, he was concerned the bill would still allow people who aren't registered as sex offenders to use drones to spy on others, saying, quote, I believe it ought to be illegal no matter who does it, whether you're a level 3 or level 4 sex offender or not, he said. On the other hand, Tucker said the proposed law could keep sex offenders whose offense wasn't related to voyeurism from even owning a drone, since it applied to all level 3 and 4 sex offenders. Yeah, so again, it just makes me wonder, is the wording and stuff okay with how broad people consider a drone? Imagine someone using like that Amazon security drone, or that Ring one, for example, where if they have it flying around the house, wouldn't that be technically illegal too for, I guess, a sex offender to use something like that? So what would you think of this? Would you agree with it or disagree with it? I just think it's tricky again. And in thinking of this situation too, would this sex offender be able to use, let's just say, an RC toy car? Would that be okay? If the guy used that, put a camera on it and so forth, I would think it'd be better to have kind of like that universal clause of sorts saying you can't record people of a certain age and all that. Because like they're saying banning everything that's remote controlled, like let's just say on the ground car, a boat or something like that, that's a little bit too broad, I think, isn't it? It's one thing to, I guess, be safe in terms of making sure they don't re-offend, but yeah, I don't know. It just seems kind of strange in that sense with how broad people classify a drone as. And reading this, apparently Ontario is going to have drones flying everywhere. What's going on here? It says Ontario Power Generation to deploy drones for remote monitoring of the power grid infrastructure. Following approval from Transport Canada, a government-owned electricity generating company, Ontario Power Generation, will deploy drones to monitor the resiliency of its power grid infrastructure and to quickly detect problems and restore power after storms and natural disasters. The unmanned drone operations are currently in trial at the OPG facility at the McConnell Lake Control Dam in northwest Quebec. Israel-based developer of autonomous drone technology Percepto will provide OPG with its drone-in-a-box solution Percepto Air Max. Percepto's autonomous drone solution seeks to provide OPG with the benefits of a remote, high-frequency visual inspection, eliminating the need for human intervention. I read that a lot in the news. I guess you guys will be seeing this around that area. Will there be concerns about things like noise and, quote, spying concerns with these drones flying autonomously there? I guess we'll see. Alright, see you guys later.